I'm a certified personal trainer, both in person and online, and a certified nutrition coach. I help moms locally in Las Vegas, Nevada, and all over the world shed the weight holding them back from becoming their most energetic and authentic version of themselves so they can go after their deepest desires alongside of motherhood. You can find me at fitandconfidentmoms.com. Hey everybody, welcome to a very special edition of Tuesday Talks because this is my birthday brunch and I brought my friends to come and hang out with me. Yes, and I see that we already have someone watching. So if you are watching live, type live, and if you're watching the replay, type replay. This helps me so much so this live gets out to the people that need to see it. So today I brought on my friends and we're going to talk about how life gets better with age and that even though you may have had a goal when you were younger, it is never too late to get started. And I brought my friends who have very inspiring stories and we're going to talk about how we're just so badass even in our 40s. For those who are curious, my actual birthday is on Friday, but we always do these lives on Tuesday. And I'm going to go around, have everyone introduce themselves. I have some fun questions. If you guys here watching have questions, drop them in the comments. We would love to bring you in on the conversation. If you're watching the replay, type comments on there anyway, and then we'll respond. But I want to give a shout out before I ask my questions for sweet Leslie. Look how beautiful these flowers are that Leslie sent me.
Cool.
So cute.
Yeah, they smell beautiful. And I have a funny story. My husband brings these in early this morning and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, they're for you. And I'm like, did you look at the card? Because it's weird, right? And it's not from my husband. So he's like, I'm like, did you look at the card? He's like, no, that's not my business. And I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking. And I was like, they're from Leslie. So thank you so much. But I just thought that was funny. Like, I don't know, like if their flowers came to my husband, I might like look at that card before I brought it in.
Ah, me too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. So funny. All right. So I'm going to just, hopefully we see each other in the same order, but Nancy, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. We're all in Las Vegas, by the way, which is cool. Sometimes we have people streaming in from other states. Tell us what you do and how do you know me? How do we know each other?
Hi, yes, I'm Nancy. I work at UNLV. I'm a retention coordinator for the School of Nursing. So I support nurses to hopefully get more of them in our valley because they are desperately needed. I also am a counseling professor at UNLV, and I've been here, like 8-9 years almost at UNLV. I'm originally from Southern California, but I love Vegas. Like when people ask me, where's home for you? It's Vegas. Like I'm so glad that we made the move here, and I've been at UNLV really since I moved to Las Vegas. And I'm in my role, like I help and support students, whether they're traditional students, graduate students, level up in their, in Rose's words, level up in their professional careers, whatever that means for them. I'm here to help and support them achieve their goals and their dreams. I know Rose. So funny story. We live in the same community and we have a very active community Facebook page. Lots of opinions, lots of posts, just what you envision a community Facebook page to look like. That's what our community looks like on a daily basis. And so when random days I'm scrolling and getting the tea on what's happening, who's driving through our community at 15 miles an hour today, I come across this post where Rose had created an open invitation for anyone that was interested in learning more about strength training and having like a free session with her. And at that point, I was looking to kind of get healthier, start working out again. And I tried all kinds of things, Zumba, Taibo, YouTube, stuff. And I tried it all. And I was like, oh, strength training is one that I haven't tried yet. And I didn't know if it was sketchy, didn't know if I should have been skeptical, but I was like, okay, I'm about to go to somebody's house and they're going to train me. And I took her up on it, and here I am like a year later. I love training with Rose, and that's what we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. You can find us training. So that's how I know her, and it's been such a great experience and journey in this last year so far.
Thank you so much for sharing, Nancy. It's been awesome to see like how strong you've gotten. Like just recently I shared a photo with her of like her deadlifting in November versus her deadlifting today. And like you look like a totally different person. So you've gotten like so strong, so confident. And my heart was beating fast because I thought you were going to share a different story because I've gotten involved in some Facebook drama on that page. And I thought you were going to be like, then Rose commented blah, blah, blah. And so I and then I clicked on her page and found out she was a trainer. But like I literally was like, oh my God, is she gonna talk about the dog post? Anyway, it's so funny that
Yeah.
but thank you so much for sharing. But yeah, my heart was kind of, oh my God, what story is she about to share? All right, Val, introduce yourself. What do you do? And I love how Nancy like said like how long, because that is a good question. How long you've lived in Vegas um and then how do we meet?
Yeah, so my name is Valana. I am a local State Farm agency owner. So I do insurance, super fun. I have been in Las Vegas my entire life. So born and raised here, local, went to UNLV. I'm like Nancy. I love Vegas. There's times when I want to leave, but just can't see myself leaving because I love it here so much. So we're spoiled, always lots to do. I met Rose at Olympia Festival. That's for food at Craig Ranch Park. And I think that, Rose, I don't even remember if we met in person, but I remember seeing you on their story. And then I
Yeah.
went to follow you. And when I started following you, I loved all your content. I loved what you were doing and that you were working with women of a certain age and really trying to help them find that confidence and making the changes they wanted to make and understanding that we're not in our 20s anymore. So our bodies react a little bit differently. And so I started with the nutrition side. And then now I am with Nancy and Leslie deadlifting and brain training. And I love it. Absolutely love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm really good about like when someone starts following me and they look like somebody I want to work with, I like DM them right away. And I was like,
Me
"Hi,
too.
Val, thank you for like following." And like we
We
were
are
having a
lurkers.
conversation.
Yeah, we're lurkers. I'm like, I was like, when I got here, I was like, oh, I recognize your name. You have been following me.
I love that because that does make a difference though, right? Because I know personally, I follow a lot of different pages and the engagement is definitely what sparked my interest to really dive in a little bit more and ask questions. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's super important.
thank you for being here. And like, actually, I love that you brought up the Lumpia Festival because I just made a reel that I'm publishing, like, I don't know when, because I'm getting really good at batching them now. And one of them is about, like, it says something like, when your personal trainer and nutrition coach loves to eat. And it's like literally me eating at different things at different places. So, yeah.
Love it.
Leslie. So, Leslie, introduce yourself. How long have you lived in Vegas and how do we know each other?
So my name's Leslie, and I am an operations manager for an electrical contractor here in Las Vegas. I was also born and raised here, so I've known Valana, well, my whole life, or at least that's what we say, right? She came up to me in kindergarten and was like, "Your mom knows my mom, and we're gonna be best friends." And I was like, "Oh, is that right?" And so I go home and I tell my mom, "This girl says she knows me, and we're best friends." And I was like, so Valana and I know each other way back when, and I was in the market for better health for myself, and so I'm in a few groups myself, and so I just was like, okay, let me find out how to do this. And so initially I interviewed like two personal trainers, but they were remote, and that's just not my cup of tea. And so I went into a local Facebook page. I think it was North Las Vegas Moms or something like that, or Northwest Moms. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for a personal trainer. Anybody have any suggestions? And Coach Rose was suggested several times. And so I went and I stalked her page. And I saw that Valana was tagged in a few posts, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I think I called Valana and I was like, okay, give me the DL. What do I need to know? And she was like, you're going to love her. I think you had just started nutrition or only had done nutrition. So I was like, I want it all. I need it all. And so I had a session with Coach over the phone, and she she loved me and I loved her. So I've been training since February, and I do train with Alana and Nancy, and I also do the nutrition with you. So um, it's it's been life altering in a very, very good way.
Aw, so
Yep.
thankful to have you, and I'm glad to hear you say that. And I mean, I love this is why I don't do online only is because, and I think I've talked to Ati about
Mhm.
this too, is like I could go fully remote, but I just love being connected to people.
Yeah.
And I do both, but there's something still about having that in-person training that it changes my life too. So I love that I have you guys here for me. Ati,
I feel
introduce
like
yourself.
I
And
feel like I'm the odd one because like such a different connection. So my name is Ati. I'm a personal branding coach and a personal branding photographer. Like if you like all of the photos of Coach in the last like what 6 months, I
yes,
took over her brand and I was like, okay, girl, no. Uh, and like I met Rose actually at an event that I hosted that she came to network. My passion is to really elevate women. I really have a passion for taking women's stories and women's voice and really help them to be seen and live in their purpose through what they do for work, not just make a paycheck. And we hit it right away because we're both so passionate and we are in a similar place in business where we're hyper growing. So that kind of like helped us to like, we started kind of our own little mastermind and we brainstorm and we look at each other's content, what's working, what's not working, like how are we closing clients, what can I help you with? And that has been like really freaking awesome to have a friend that you can talk to about business and life. Also, I'm a former triathlete, so she helped me a ton with like losing weight for my last race, which I was already skinny, but I was like, I want to be faster on the bike. And she said, well, we can shed a few pounds. And like literally what she does is genius. And I love her approach. And obviously not from Las Vegas. But I am originally from Argentina, but I've been in Las Vegas for 23 years. And this is home. I love it here. We also fantasize so many times with my husband to leave. We even have done trips back in the day, like where we went to islands and all this stuff. And then we were like, where are we going to go? Like, let's just take vacations to other places. And we truly, truly enjoy Vegas. Like, we hike weekly. I love the outdoors, and there is so much here to do. And I consider myself a native because I've been here for so long.
I think you're allowed. You've been here for a long time. I think you're allowed to. And
I mean, guys, I've been here longer than I lived in Argentina, where I was born and raised, because I left Argentina when I was 21. I went to live in Spain for like a little while, lived in Miami for like a little while, and then I moved here. So I've been here at this point for actually 21 years. It was in March. So literally, I match the years I've been in my country.
I have to ask you a question because I think this is like really interesting part of you that not very many people know. Was your bartending what brought you to Vegas, or
Yeah.
you just wanted to bring? Okay, so tell them what you used to do.
So I am a former world champion flair bartender. So what that means is I was one of those bartenders that flip the bottles and spit the fire and all of that. And back in the day, and if you have been in Vegas for a long time, you probably have been to Carnival Court.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I worked. I used to work there for 16 years. And that was the mecca of bartending. So if you were anybody or any who or anything in the world of flair bartending, that was the best bar in the world to work out. It was like where there were like, I was brought from Argentina, but there was another Argentinian guy. There was a guy from Lithuania. There was somebody from the Philippines. There was somebody from Hawaii. So there was somebody else from Argentina too. So yeah, so for me, I came to Vegas for the first time in 2001, I believe. And Carnival Court opened in year 2000. And I was like, this is where I belong. And I was obsessed with Vegas. And in '03, I ended up moving here and I got offered a job. And that's why I actually moved here. So, yeah.
I
Very
spent some of my best weekends in my 20s there. I bet you our paths crossed at some point. I didn't even know it.
So this is so weird because so many people tell me, I know you from somewhere. And then they will text me, they're like, bitch, I know you from Carnival Court.
You're in the background in my pictures.
Or they will be like, I know you. And I'm like, have you ever been to Carnival Court? And they're like, yeah, I used to go every week. And I'm like, that's where you know me from.
I love that story. And this is actually the perfect segue to talking about what we did before and where we are now. And hold on, I'm going to pull up my notes. So first of all, it kind of goes together. I'm gonna combine the two.
Rose,
Yeah.
so how old are you turning on Friday?
I'm gonna be 42.
Oh, okay. So it's not the big 40, but I think that it's so important to talk about the 40s because the 40s are the new 30s.
I agree. I feel fantastic, actually, except for the dang gout in my foot. Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna get ahead of myself. Let me just ask the first question I really wanted to do because I'm all about celebrating the wins before anything else. So, what is one thing that you're currently working on in life or business that you're really proud of?
I love that.
Yeah, well, I think I have like more than one, but for
Me too.
yeah, for me, I'm really proud of that. I'm still doing Olympic weightlifting. I started at like 37. Trying to think how long it's been. I started lifting weights in my early 30s, just regular strength training, very much so how I train Nancy, Val, and Leslie. And then I just got really curious because my coach was also an Olympic weightlifting coach. And I always saw it as like them and me. Like it was always like they can do Olympic weightlifting, but I'm just here to lose weight. So I just always looked at like they're elites. That's kind of what I looked at it like. They're elites and I'm just here to get in shape. And then about like 6 months into it, I started having conversations with my coach and I was like, what do you think about me trying that? And he's like, you could try it if you want. And I said, well, let me wait 6 months. I want to just get a little stronger and then I'll try it. So 6 months goes by and he's like, so you've been crushing it in the gym. You're super strong. I think I deadlifted like over 200 pounds for the first time in my life. And he's like, are you ready to do Olympic weightlifting? And I was like, no, give me 6 more months. And it took me 18 months of like watching these other people. And I felt so inspired by them. And this gym, by the way, has a very high percentage of women. So it was very encouraging that there were more women than men. And there were actually a lot of Filipinos in this gym. So it was like I was very comfortable and at home that like there was Filipino women doing Olympic weightlifting, which is actually Olympic weightlifting is very popular in the Philippines. I didn't know that until now. So anyway, I started and within 6 months, I did my first competition, which that competition was supposed to qualify me for a big one and I didn't make it. And actually I had the biggest heartbreak of when I didn't make that. Looking back now at that, I know that that was a lesson I needed to learn. And pretty much the lesson is one, you have to just leave your ego out when it comes to lifting weights and when it comes to, I don't know, developing I don't know, like when you're trying to develop excellence in something, you cannot go into it thinking that I'm just going to learn this and I'll be the best. You have to go in with the mindset of like there's always something to learn. And so when I didn't make that, I felt heartbroken and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been training for 6 months. I've been dragging my kids." Like that was the thing I had this like I should deserve this. Been dragging my kids to the gym every day this summer. They lived there. Like on the Friday nights, we always had Big Friday, which we would test to max. I would bring them like Chick-fil-A and iPads and whatever. And like they would just hang out Friday nights with me in the gym. And so I just felt like all this time and effort and I didn't make it. And I was crushed. And I pretended everything was okay. And I was like, and I went back to the gym. But when I went back to the gym, I was like, I don't know. Like, am I gonna keep doing this? Like that, like it hurt. It hurt not to qualify. But then I was just like, you're already here. Let's just keep going. So I don't know. I just kept going. And then the second qualifying meet I did 6 months later, I finally did qualify. And that made, I don't know. I just felt like one, I learned a lot, but two, I think I also realized I was dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome, and
Mm.
it might have been my own mindset that kept me from not qualifying. So when I got to the platform and made it to my first national event, which was in 2021, so we were all wearing masks and it was just crazy. Or not 2021. When did the world shut down? Yeah, it was
2019, 2020.
2020. So yeah, I think it was. Well, it was either 2020 or 2021 because I felt like, why are we still?
Oh, it
wearing
was
masks?
March 16th, 2020. I will never forget that day.
Yeah.
Because I remember texting with my husband and I was like, dude, there is no fucking way the casino, they closed the school on March 16. And I remember he was like, the casinos are next. And he works at a casino. And I was like, there is no fucking way the casinos are not closing. They never close. Even after 9/11, they were closed for one day. And he was like, I don't know, dude. And 4 days later, on the 20th, everything closed down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think the reason I'm trying to remember whether it was 2020 or 2021, because I remember that we did not have the mask mandate anymore, but New Mexico did. So it was like, oh my God, I can't believe we are the most social distance sport where I'm on a platform by myself and I still have to wear a mask, but it was televised. So that was the thing, is like, it's on TV. We had to look like we're taking precautions. But as I look back on that competition and even my own mindset at that point, I remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself for making it. And then there was this little voice that was like, you don't really belong here. Like, there's all these elite athletes. You're just a mom and you don't train like them. You don't train like these young people that are 5 days a week, 2-a-days, and it's like their life's work. You're only training 3 or 4 times a week because you're also a mom and a business owner. So I had this like thought in my head that I didn't deserve to be there because I didn't train as hard as other people. So looking back, I feel like maybe that was part of why I didn't. But anyway, today I want to say that like I just threw that shit out the window and I compete and I've met other women in their late 30s and 40s who are still competing. And so that makes me feel good. My oldest teammate, he's in his 70s and he's still competing. And so it's like, I just needed to be around that energy to be like, you made it here. Just stop. Like, stop trying to like take it away from yourself. Like, you got to be able to stop, take a moment and be proud of yourself. And I think that ambitious women, we have a hard time stopping and celebrating because we're always like, what's next? How we can do this better. And so that was my lesson and takeaway from that, is like, you got to stop and celebrate, appreciate how far you come. And who cares what anybody else thinks? Don't let that hold you back from really going after your dreams. So yeah, I'm celebrating that. That I'm still competing. My next competition is in August. So yeah, that'll be cool. I'll share the details, and you guys can watch live if you want to. So Nancy, what are you really proud of? What's a good share? First of all, if you guys don't mind, it's up to you if you want to say over 40 or if you want to share how old you are. But also, like, I think it's cool to like know like you could still do awesome things in your 40s. But so how old are you, and what are you really proud of, either in life or business?
So I am 2 months away from turning 39. So I am staring 40 right in the face. But I love what you said, Rose, because, I feel like I've spent so much of my life always focused on trying to lose weight, right? Like, I've always been kind of on the heavier side. And I feel like that almost became a part of my identity and where I was comfortable and what I knew, right? It was this constant fluctuation in weight where during certain seasons of my life, like, I knew that was my focus. Like, let me lose weight. And like I mentioned, I tried so many things, from yoga to swimming to Zumba to whatever, you name it, insert it, I've tried it. And I hated every minute of it, which you and I have talked about this in the past, right? Where everything was short term and it was seasonal. And then the minute I reached either my plateau or the goal weight that I had in mind, then I was like, great, let the torture stop. And then insert the next season when I went back to old habits and kind of the Nancy that I've always known, right? But, this year, as you and I have been working together, I have found this new genuine love and enjoy strength training that I almost don't even know what to do with myself. And in this last year, I think I've lost the most weight and have felt the strongest and most healthiest that I ever have in years and years and years of yo-yo dieting. And with that weight, though, I think it's kind of like peeling back an onion, right? Where there have been new layers of myself exposed outside of just like the physical weight. And so what I'm really proud of now is my reinvestment into my nutrition, getting my mind right, feeling emotionally healthy and well. And so I have recently restarted going to therapy again because I want to feel good. Like I feel like my emotions and my mind should match how good I feel in this new body, essentially, right? But it's almost like I don't know who I am anymore because that old Nancy that I've always known and loved is kind of gone now. So some of the things that I'm doing and that I'm really proud of is, again, like investing in my mental health. I'm restarting my doctorate program after like a 4-year hiatus. I'm kind of thinking about who I want to be as a professional in higher education and where I want to make an impact in the students that we serve at UNLV. And so it's almost like this great opportunity to reinvent who I am, right? Because who I was in these last 40 years is not really who I want to be anymore. And it just doesn't match this new Nancy. So that's what I'm reinvesting in myself and being who I want to be in the next 40 years.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And I'm just thrilled to be in your circle and see you process this. And I think your commitment to strength training, I've seen a lot of this happen to other people where you're building this new identity for yourself. And in the process of doing something foreign and hard and getting stronger, you're like, oh my God, if I could deadlift 200 pounds, I could do this in my life. And I just commend you for now you want to do the inner work, matching the outside with the inside. That's so cool. And I don't know if I should celebrate this or not, but I've had so many clients like go through coaching or nutrition, particularly nutrition coaching. And they'll be like, I decided to go to therapy now too. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like full disclosure, I've been going to my own personal therapy for like 4 years. So I love therapy so much. But I think it's good that you're getting that piece of support too, because that helps us grow. We can uncover and unblock the things that need to be unblocked so that we can blossom. So I love that so much.
And going back to, what you were saying earlier about this new kind of love or passion of yours and entering kind of this new realm of strength training and Olympic weightlifting that maybe you had never considered for yourself. Like now that you and I are working together and now that my focus is not so much on the weight loss, but the focus is really on a newfound love and passion for the sport. And it's like, well, what do I focus on now if I'm not focused on losing weight? And it's focusing on getting stronger and being open to wherever this might take me next.
Ooh, I love that. In my early days, I used to share like how strength training really made me more adventurous because it was like, now I'm saying yes to things I never would have before, like taking the kids to the community pool and there's a rock wall that goes over the pool. And my friends are like, let's go on that. And I'm like, holy crap. First of all, that is way high up and it's wet and it's slippery. But I was like doing things like that, like climbing those things, going rappelling, saying like watching Ninja Warrior with the kids, and then me thinking like I could do that, and then going to a Ninja Warrior gym and training. I mean, Ati could probably say this because she's started training in triathlons, but really investing in your own physical well-being. And when you start to see like what you're really made of, it really opens you up to like, where is this going to take me? Who knows? Like, not saying like, Nancy, I'm going to make you go rappel with me, but I've thought about it. I'm still thinking about it. But yeah, it opens you up to like life's adventures, I feel like. So thank you so much for sharing with that. All right, Valana, it's your turn. What is one thing that you're really proud of in life or in business?
So first, I loved everything that Nancy shared. Thank you so much for sharing so freely and so openly, because I think her story plays so much into so many of our stories. And really, I know when I was entering my 40s, so I'm 43, and when I was entering my 40s is when I started my business. I was 39, and I really went on a journey of self discovery for myself and where I was going in this next stage and chapter of my life. So one thing I was really passionate about during that time was being very intentional with who I hired. So the team that I was going to be bringing into my business, because I knew the struggles that I have been through in my life and the challenges that I've been through. And I really wanted to pour that back into other people, and to specifically the team that I was going to be bringing on. So I was very intentional with my hiring. I hired a lot of younger women that were kind of on that same journey of just trying to figure out where they were going in life, how they were going to move into the career that they wanted to be in, and set goals for where it was they wanted to go in life. So I've been open now since February of 2020, and I definitely remember March 16th of 2020 because I was 1 month open in my new business and had to completely shut down. So life had to be restructured during that time. But I remember really sitting down throughout these last 3 years with my team individually to really develop and pour into them and figure out, like, this is not just a job. Like, why do you show up every day? What is your why are you here? What do you want? Where are you going? And so, we do regular one-on-ones, and every year we do a what is it called, vision board together. So when we do those vision boards, we really talk about their personal goals and professional goals, because I do believe they both tie into each other, and we can really start working towards the things that took me into my 40s to figure out while they're in their early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, and really start to develop who is the person that they want to become, and set some of those things in stone now, so you're not in your later years of your life trying to figure it all out, or have those moments of, can I do this or can I not do this? Because we can do anything, but what are you putting in place to get to whatever it is that looks like? And then each year we look at and we check off their vision boards of, because I do think too, we get very caught up in the big picture, like, the big goals that we want to accomplish, but we forget about all of the stuff along the way that we are accomplishing. So that's something we're very intentional about watching and paying attention to and celebrating. So one thing that I'm really proud of is when I see the development come to fruition with these girls. We had a lot of really good moments ending last year and going into this year. And I just get really excited and proud and like, wow, like it makes me so happy that, I get to see that development come to life in them, because I do think it's so necessary. And I wish that those are some of the things that I had when I was younger. So I'm just really proud of it.
We should all go work for Val, and we're going to be like amazing human
You're welcome.
beings. I know.
You're welcome. I got open
You're
desk.
the supervisor I wish I had in my 20s. My goodness, what
Yeah.
are you in my life?
And we don't fit her age criteria, so we can't.
I know.
You fit. Okay. We're always growing and developing.
And I know how much you love your staff, because you're like trading with me and you're talking with them and you're texting them, checking in on them. And like, it's all out of love, and I totally get it. But thank you so
100%.
much. And like,
Yeah.
what a rock star, opening your business in one of the toughest times to open a business, and you're still in business today. And I know that's a huge accomplishment. And I just want to point that out, that you're doing amazing things and making a big impact on those girls' lives, and you're rocking it as a business owner. So that's awesome. I mean, you've already passed that scary 2-year mark, they say, about businesses. So you'll be around for a while.
I hope so.
Yeah. Leslie, thank you so much for you guys for being here and continuing to chat with me. How old are you? And what is one thing in life and or work that you're really proud of?
I am 44. I turned 44 in January. And much like Nancy spoke about yo-yo dieting and up and down, and I've always been overweight, or just I've always had it on the forefront of my mind of like, okay, you need to get healthy, and healthy looks different. So what I'm most proud about now is what my health looks like to me now. So health isn't just for me, it's not just about a number on the scale or a weight. Of course, we all have that target weight we want to get to, but like Nancy says, it doesn't stop there. So I'm most proud that I have taken this time at 44. So let's see. In 2018, I lost 100 and almost 20 pounds, and I've gained all of that back and then a little bit, because when I did it, it was not in a healthy manner, one, and two, I did not set myself up for the rest of my life. It was a very short-term success and then no long-term progress, right? So but with coach and with my new mindset, I've just decided that like health is going to be about being able to go on hikes, being able to go in an airplane and be able to fasten the seatbelt without embarrassment, or um, you know, be able to do strength training, which I love, and Nancy and we all have great old time, but I know Valana seems to think it's them against us, and it's not. But I just love, so I'm most proud that I have taken the initiative um, to think about myself and to put myself first. Um, and without guilt, I think is the thing that is most important for me.
So it's coming from a place of loving yourself instead of a place of punishing for where you're at. And we talked about this in person recently, that we talked about like what's food like lately and things like that. And you're like, you know what? I just feel good that I'm taking care of myself. Like I'm happy when I eat well because I'm actually taking care of myself. And I think I'm like so thrilled to hear you say that this is a process that's bringing you joy and happiness. So I'd love to hear that. Thank you so much. Ati, how old are you? Tell us all.
Oh my
And
God, I feel like you guys are all babies.
are you the oldest?
I am the oldest. I'm going to be
Okay.
47 this year. And one of the things that I love here on everybody's stories, I feel like I can relate so much. So I got to 39, and I think I said it outside of camera, and you were like, no, you have to save the story. But it was like, I loved my previous life. I loved that career. It was very glamorous, and there was all these kind of like world around it of being very, very good at something, until I realized it didn't fit where I was going. It was great for my 20s and my 30s, and even my early 30s, because when I had my kid at 35, I knew that it didn't match my life anymore. So after my son was born, and I actually gained 45 pounds like on my pregnancy. And for those that don't know me in person, I'm actually really, really short and really small. So 45 pounds was a lot. And I know for a lot of people, maybe it doesn't sound like that, but I was big, and everybody was like, oh, you're going to lose it at birth. Well, no, I didn't lose shit at birth. Because I think that I did eat the 45 pounds, like in my pregnancy, right? Like my life was changing. Everything was very convoluted. And I actually found triathlon right after that, where for the first time I found something that it wasn't about being skinny. Because until before my pregnancy, because I was a bartender, everything was about the way I looked. And you had to look a certain way and all of the things. And when I found triathlon, what happened was like, when I did that first triathlon, I was like, if I can do this, I can do anything. And by no means I was fast. Just I want you to know, I just finished. I barely fucking finished. But I finished like, what the fuck, I'm dying. But what happened though was the moment I finished, I was like, I have to do this again. And it was so addictive. And I actually did it for almost 10 years. I took a break in August last year, but that was when I did. And I did several half Ironmans. And I think that confidence of doing that actually translated into not working out for being skinny, not working out for the scale, and actually eating to better myself. And it was such a journey to my mindset and who I was being, which in return, when I started my business at 39, the same Volana, I was like, this is there is so much that goes into building a business that I remember I used everything I learned in triathlon in my business. Like I would ask myself, who am I being right now? When things got tough, it's still till this day, I do this. Who am I being right now? Who am I being? Who's driving the bus? It's like me, Ati from like 10 years old, like convoluted, like unconfident, whatever, or this new version of me that she knows. If you can run a fucking half marathon after running and like biking, you can do anything. Like, right? So
Yes.
for me, it was this like journey of personal growth that it started with something physical, but it bled into everything I do. And one of the things that you were like, what are you working on right now? One of the reasons I actually took a break from triathlon is because I realized that I was also using it to achieve who I was without triathlon. So it became this new vice, right? Where this is who I am. I do triathlons. And then I was like, well, who am I without that? And what I'm actually working on is not having to achieve to be. Right? Like constantly, like I don't need, like for example, I've been hiking a ton and I'm hiking for happiness. I'm not hiking to check it off the list. I'm not hiking for it to be cardio. I'm hiking just to be outside and hang out with my husband, right? I'm working truly in having a routine that is about self-love. And I think that everything that we go through our 30s, we bring into the 40s, and it's almost like we are undoing all of those conditionings. And for me, kind of like how you said, Valona, like business and life and friendship, it's all the same to me at this point, and I love it that way. A lot of people will tell you, well, you have to compartmentalize, if not, you're never going to be organized. I love becoming friends with my clients. You don't have to be my friend to be my client, but if you're my client, you're going to become my friend. And like all these things, right? Where I am here to elevate women no matter what, from maybe inspiring you to get healthier. I mean, I'm not a coach, but like inspiring you with me, showing you that you can be healthy when you have a business, or actually helping you with your business, right? And I think that it's because before I was 40, I didn't realize that my voice mattered.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't realize I was just a bartender. And even though I was a world champion flair bartender, I didn't even know what was out there.
That crazy. Like we're probably going to run out of time, but I love hearing stories about what we used to do and then what we do now, because like I always tell people, like it was not in the cards. I had no idea I was going to be a nutrition and fitness coach today. Like honestly, when I was growing up, I just wanted to make money. So I just kept getting like going from job to job, like who's going to pay me more? That's where I'm going to go.
But I think, but one of the things, and because this is something that I talk about a lot, is I think that when we are younger, we're getting like settled in life and we're still trying to figure out life. And we do need money to have the life that we want, right? To sustain ourselves, to go on vacation, to eat, to buy a house, all the things. But I think that once you get to like 35, 40, hopefully, right, you're in a place where I don't want to say settle down because that's not the word, but like you stabilize a little bit.
Yes.
Right? You're a little bit more stable. And now you start questioning life. And now you're not desperate for money anymore. Now
Yes.
that doesn't mean you're a billionaire, but that means you're stable. And now your primary needs are met. So now your primary needs move up to what do I truly want?
Exactly.
And it all becomes about fulfillment. And this is where for women, because of who we are and our nature, on like nurture nature, we are here to serve. In general, that's why you find more women that they are mission driven.
Yes. And I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that we do, as we get older, try to figure out what is our life's purpose and that we're mission driven and what brings us joy. We're at 45 minutes. I know some of you guys are on your lunch break. So I'm going to tell one quick story and then Ati, I'll let you wrap it up.
Yeah.
But the quick story is I went on this business conference and I met this guy. His name's Alex, but I have to figure out his Instagram and I'll note it. But he has studied faces and personalities, and it's his life's work where he published a book that's like 650 pages. And the reason it's so long is because he cited so many studies to back up what he learned so that people, well, he shared on his talk that like he was trying to prove something like, I have this gift. I know what it is. There's all this research and don't just believe me. Here's the studies behind it. But anyway, he reads faces and he could look at you, your face and your posture and tell you exactly your personality. And
wow,
people were waiting in line after his talk for hours to speak to him. And at first, like my friends were like, did you talk to Alex? I'm like, no, I don't really want to. And they're like, why? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm self-aware enough to know that I don't know all parts of me. And maybe I don't want to hear that right now. I'm here for business. It's kind of like going on Google and like Googling symptoms and then it tell you you have this thing. And they're like, you're looking at it all wrong. You got to go talk to him. So I'm like, all right, it's 10:30 at night. This guy ended at 6:30. We come over there. He's still standing in the same spot talking to people a line. So I get up there. He's pretty tired at this point. So I'm trying to keep it short. He's trying to keep it short. So he's like, what do you want to know? And I said, you talked about certain personalities. You can tell by their face what kind of environment they need. What do you think? What kind of environment do I need? And he's like, you need a ton of structure. And I was like, what? He's like, you need lots of structure because you only do the things that excite you. And without structure and like a schedule or a structured environment, you might not be able to stick to the things you really want to do. And he's like, the worst job for you would be an accountant. And I busted up laughing because accounting is my absolute worst nightmare. We've talked about this.
Oh my God, yes.
It makes me
like
cry when I have to do that. And I'm like, the fact that he said that to me, he's like, the worst job for you would be an accountant. I was like, oh my God, he really does know me. And then, yes. And then he said, there's more, but I want to keep it short and I'll tell you guys individually later. But he said, there's something else. He's like, you're teaching something that's making a profound impact around people and you're changing lives. And that's your life's purpose. And I said, I am. I do feel like I'm living my life's purpose. And I was just like, after that, like there were a few things, and I'll tell you guys later that I was like, am I really? Oh, I'll tell you right now. He talked in his talk about like by your face, he can tell you if you're uninhibited or inhibited. So he said, which one do you think you are? Are you uninhibited or are you inhibited? So Ati, I'm going to have you answer this question. Do you think I'm uninhibited? Like, I do everything, right? Uninhibited is like, don't care what anybody thinks. And
absolutely. I think that you do care. You're still in that train that you haven't blossomed yet.
Okay. So I said to him, I'm uninhibited. He's like, no, you're not. You're inhibited. And I was like, what? I was like, I go to the grocery store in my pajamas and flip flops and don't give a fuck.
But that's not about
anybody. And he said, that's different. That's different. He's like, you're definitely.
I don't think you have blossomed into your message yet. I don't think I have blossomed into my message yet either, which is crazy because like, and Valona, like if you're in business, you can probably relate to this, is that when we are putting ourselves out there with our message, right? I think that it takes several years for us to get to a point where we refine. And I actually feel like right now I'm on a place of, I'm in a new cusp. And I think that you're too,
Yeah.
from knowing you as a friend.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's so true. And I would love to be uninhibited and say I'm that person, but I am definitely not to that place in life yet.
I feel like I'm a very uninhibited person. I don't think that I'm in a place where I'm like,
yeah. Because like you said, our brand is connected to it as well, right? So there's a piece of it that keeps us, that's always playing in the back of our mind, that's attached to everything we say, everything we do, every person that we meet. All of those things are connected to that.
Yeah. So, one other thing he said was that in his talk, he talked about people are two types. They're either the fruit or they're the husk. So the husk would be outside the fruit. And then, so anyway, he's like, do you think you're the fruit or do you think you're the husk? So the husk is,
I don't understand the concept.
So the husk is like the protector and the fruit has to be protected. And when he asked me that, I said, oh, I'm the fruit. He's like, you are. So then he said that I am. And then my friend was standing behind me and she's like, I think I'm the husk. He's like, no, you're not. You're the fruit. She's like, no, I'm the husk. And she was like arguing with him. And he's like, no, you're the fruit. And I'm like, that's why I was like, I got to like think about like and think deeply on the things that were said to me, you know, but I found it very, very, very interesting. And I think he's awesome. I think he's a very unique fellow. I think he's awesome. I think he has a gift. And it was a cool experience. So anyway,
I love that. So ladies, this is what I would love for us to do. Do you have some words for Rose, for the birthday girl? Like going into 42, do you say?
Yep.
I feel you're the baby, right? No, Nancy, you're the baby. So some words for...
I would love to say, Rose, thank you for sharing what you just shared, because when you said that, you know that you are doing your life's work at this point. I felt the same way. From the first time I talked to you, I felt like you are such an impactful person. I think that you are exactly where you need to be. And I do believe that you know the impact that you're having on women's lives. We talk about it a lot in training, but it's just not impact from the strength training side. It's from the emotional place. It's from the caring place. Like there's so many impacts that I see you having on us daily, and even the bonds that you connect with us as women and the friendships that we form throughout this time. So I just want to encourage you to please keep being impactful and, you know, making the difference that you make in all of our lives. I know I'm so thankful for you. I know these ladies are as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I would echo exactly what Val said. Like, I hope that you, in the work that you do, and I know how busy you are as an athlete, as a businesswoman, and you're in every circle. I feel like if there is a women's group, if there's a conference, if two people get together at their house, Rose is there. So I feel like you do so much. But in the midst of all of that, like I hope that you take some time to reflect and recognize the impact that you do have. And like Val said, like you have impacted all of us equally, but in very different ways. But I also want you to know that your impact not only impacts us directly, but it extends to our circles too. And so for those of you that don't know, like I went to get a facial the other weekend, and my facialist, like who I've known for years, ever since I've been in Vegas, she said something to me that she's never said before. And she said, wow, she said, your energy has changed. She's like, there's something different about you. And I was like, really? Because I'm just me. And I see you up, once a month. And she was like, there's something about your aura. And I was like, I don't know. But then, I was telling Rose about it, and we talked about how this new identity that I'm embracing, like how it just, the confidence kind of exudes and people notice. And so that's kind of you working through me and touching other people. And even same thing with my husband, right? Like this has been my journey about me getting healthier. And I've kept that very separate from my husband, and I don't pressure him to do this with me. And I'm just kind of focused on me. But something about this year, he's clearly noticed some changes, and now he wants to train with Rose too. Like, he wants in on the action, and he's going to start training on Saturday. But, you know, even though people don't necessarily know you, like, you work through us and you reach our circles around us. So know that your impact is felt outside of
Oh,
the
thank you
I
so
love
much.
that.
I appreciate you sharing that, because that's actually something that I've deeply been reflecting on lately, on trying, because as Ati is saying, as business owners, I try to think about my mission and why I'm here, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but it's not just about the people in front of me, it's also the ripple effect.
It's all of it.
So thank
Yeah,
you.
it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
thank you.
And one more thing,
Okay.
hopefully my time's not up. I was also going to say how, you know, you're a connector too. Like, there is so much that I learned from you. Like, these wonderful women and all of the other wonderful women that I've met, who I've come in contact with in the last year, I would have never, ever, ever in a million years probably crossed their paths. But you've connected us all. And I learned so much about all of these women's circles. Like, I was going to start going to Toastmasters because you mentioned it to me. And I was going to start going to this other women's group because you mentioned it to me. And I was like, well, that's really cool. Like, let me find out what that's about. But these are things that I would have never pushed myself or even considered becoming a part of had I not learned about it from you. And I don't think it's ever intentional. I think it's just you sharing what you did that day, or sharing a funny story about someone, and that has a lasting impact. So thank you for
Yeah.
being in my life. Thank you for a wonderful, great year of training and growing and helping shape this new identity that I'm embracing.
I love that.
Oh, thank you so much, Nancy.
Leslie?
Oh, you're muted.
I think Valana and Nancy have said it all. I think, and I don't know if I put it in that card for your flowers or if I I actually was going to bring you a different gift yesterday, but you had your episode with your gout. So I don't know what card I put it in, but I just would like to say just keep shining your light, because your light gets into shadows that you're not even aware of. And like they have said, it has impacted, Nancy's husband. And for me as a mom, um it has shown resilience and determination and perseverance to my children, to my husband, to myself, to my friends, it's funny at work. We're going on a site visit to an ice cream place, and they're like, oh, you're not going to have any ice cream, are you, Leslie? And I was like, well, maybe not, but it just depends. Like, if there's a flavor there that I want, I may have it, but it doesn't mean that, and they're already like looking at the website to find out what flavors they're going to have. And I'm like, that's just my mindset has changed so much in this short period of time because of you, and because of the skills that I'm learning and that I'm adapting and that I'm incorporating within my life, that your light has just shined through so much darkness. And I think that I just want you to keep doing that.
Thank you
I
so much.
love
That means
that.
a lot.
Well, I am gonna say something too, because my friend, I think it's so hard in business to also find friendships and people that you're aligning at a core values. And I think that our core values are very aligned. I have a lot of business friends and people that I know, but like you and I have been building this relationship that goes beyond just like business, that is like a friendship. And I mean, if you think about it, at the same event that you and I met, there were 80 something people, right? Yeah. So that goes to show how like attracts like. There is so many things that we have in common, and one of those is really truly making a true difference in the world. We truly care. You truly care. You truly care about your clients. You truly care about growing a business in integrity, which I love watching you, and I'm so proud of you.
Aw, thank you. And then really quickly before we go, so when I met Ati in person for the first time, I was starting to follow her first on Instagram, and I don't even know how I came across you, and we chatted because you and I both do the same thing. We message everyone who follows us, right? So we would
Mhm.
chat like now and then, and it'd be like, hey, I
I
like that
I
post, or
want to
hey,
I want to
whatever.
say something about
Yeah,
that because
yeah,
recently I am in somebody's world, like kind of like mentoring, and she's like, yeah, you don't have to message everybody that follows you, and I was like, yeah, I'm not taking on that, like because that's her,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
her. And for me, I actually am messaging people because I care.
yeah,
There is a
exactly.
person on the other side of the screen, and that's who I am.
I mean, I believe if someone's going to follow you, they want to be part of your world in some way. And so why not say hi? So then when I met Atif, we barely knew each other. Like, so it was just like internet hellos. But as soon as I walked up to you, I was like, I'm Rose. Like, like, we've been talking. I'm like, I'm Rose. And you're like, Rose. And you just gave me this big hug. Like you are like, either you knew me forever or like we finally met. And like just the energy, I was like, okay, we're going to be friends forever.
And you know what? It's funny that you say that because I think for me, that it's me. That it's me. And a lot of people, in business are like, oh, you don't need to do that or whatever. Like you're lowering your authority by doing that, whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah. I mean, we're like you're saying, we're doing our life's purpose and we're trying to change lives. We're not just running a business.
Well,
So
and to be
yeah.
honest, one of the reasons that I love women community so much is because I didn't have any community growing up. I was part of like the Mean Girls Club. No, I wasn't a part. I was outside.
Yeah.
Like I mean like that's not the way I want our society to operate. I don't want women to operate like that in business. I don't want women to feel like they have to look a certain way to be part of my tribe,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Or to look or to behave or to make certain amount of money or their Instagram. Like a lot of people are like, oh, but I'm not like all pink like you. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to. You get
Yeah.
to be you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you, and I'm gonna try not to get a big head today to match my big foot. All the all the nice things that you guys are saying to me, and I love you all, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day, which I know it's a work day, so it means a lot that you take time out of your day to come to this brunch, and also being so vulnerable and open and sharing all of your stories, because people that need to hear your story and your message, they're going to listen to this. So you're all making an impact in the world as well, and inspiring others to, like, life doesn't end at 40. That actually, it's getting
Mhm.
better and better. So
Yes.
thank you so much for being here. And yeah, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. And I'll see the rest of you guys
Thank you,
soon.
Rose. Happy
Bye.
birthday.
Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. Bye.